Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. I'm your host, Kira Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. Welcome to Workshop Wednesdays. We're so excited to see you guys here. We know a lot of you will be trickling in, so while you're trickling in, as always, we start out by introducing our fabulous coaching team. As we mentioned earlier, we are missing Charlie. She's actually in an office coaching. We are back to the offices coaching, which is exciting. And we're also missing Claire. Claire's our hygiene coach. She is working in an office right now. I think Laramie might be popping in. We'll see. But we've got Tiffany, Ashley, and myself today. I think we are the A-team ladies. I feel like we're the ride or die crew over here. So let's intro Tiff. How about we start with you? Tell us a little bit about who you are and your role in Dental A-team and in your own life, whatever you feel like sharing today.
I always just wing it. I don't know why. I'm still shocked when you do this to me. Every day I'll say that. It's fine. I'm Tiffany. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I have a beautiful boy who's about to turn 12 in less than 2 months. And dentistry is what we do. It's what I've done for the last, I don't know, I haven't counted in a while, 17 years, I guess. We're probably rolling into that. Dental A-team, I'm a traveling consultant. I'm a coaching call consultant. We do virtual training, phone training, and in-person training. And I have been here with the team almost since the beginning. Yeah, that's me. I love what I do. I'm super stoked. I'm going to be in an office in a couple weeks.
It's going to be so fun. Tiff, you're headed back. You're headed back.
I'm so happy. So yeah, that's
so
me.
Exciting. Thanks, Tiff. Love having you here. Like Tiffany said, she's literally been with me since the beginning. So super happy to have her. Ash, give us a little intro on who you are today.
So I'm Ashley Dorn. I'm also one of the traveling consultants, coaching, all the things Tiff mentioned. I have been with the Dental A-team for almost a year now. I absolutely love it. It brings me so much joy traveling around everywhere. I'm so excited to get back to traveling too. Prior to that, I had my own dental consulting business. I also love dental marketing, so I dabbled in that as well. I've been in the world of dentistry since the early age of 17. So I just love it so much, and I still love helping people and the opportunity that coaching with the Dental A-team brings.
I love it, Ash. I love your story. I love you being here. We just have a good crew here. So, you guys, all of you who are joining us today for Workshop Wednesday, I want to know if you are excited for Workshop Wednesday, and do not use the word yes. Let's get a little creative. Pop in that chat today. Are you excited for Workshop Wednesday? Because all the people here joining us, pop it in the chat. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to shout out your answers. No yeses. What do you guys have? Heck yeah, Kaylee Taylor. Thank you, Miss Kaylee. What else do we have out there? Super stoked. All right, what else is going on out there? Give us your answers. Absolutely. Fantastic. I love absolutely. Laura, nice. Well played from last week. Nice job on that. Super excited. Awesome, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We want to hear from you. This is how you'll be participating today with us. All right, you guys, let's get rocking and rolling. So I want you guys, before we get started, I want you guys to imagine we're switching gears. The last 2 weeks we did scheduling. This week and next week we're doing treatment planning. So I want you guys to imagine, if you will, just kind of close your eyes. Imagine what you want your treatment plans to be like. Just think about it. I love that Tiff's doing it. Ash, shut your eyes. Shut your eyes too. What do you want your treatment plans to look like? Do you want them to be no's? Do you want them to be yeses? Do you want people to have questions all the time? Do you want them to be confident? Do you want them to be clear? I'm hoping you guys said that you want them to be, we want yeses. That's why we treatment plan. We want patients to say yes to treatment. I want them to do it in an easy way. Okay, so visualize yourself right now real quick. Visualize yourself, if you will, in a world where you're literally getting yeses on every single treatment plan. Okay, so I come up, you say, hey, Kara, let's get this crown done. And I say, yes. The next person, let's get this root canal done. Yes. Okay, start seeing yourself getting these yeses. Doctors, you're presenting exams. You're getting a yes. These people are saying yes to you. Visualize yourself with that, okay? All right, you guys, come back. So what I want you to do is, do you want that? Do you want yeses on all your treatment plans? No, not every single one of them will be a yes, but do you want yeses on your treatment plans? Do you want yeses on your exams? Do you want patients to say yes to you? If you do, I want you to put a yes that you are committed. You're going to act on what we tell you today. Give us a yes. Tell us that you are absolutely committed to acting on what we tell you to do today, because you will get that reality. You just saw it. Ashley said, absolutely. Do you guys want that? Absolutely. Booyah. Keep them coming. Steve, you've got some good ones for me every week. I appreciate those. Keep them coming. What do you guys want? Do you see that? Are you committed? I'm in. Trish, you're in. You got this. You want this. So you guys, keep them coming. I want you all to have that. That's why the Dental A team puts on these exercises for you. This is why we do Workshop Wednesday. So you've got to be committed. We're going into treatment planning. All right. So today we're going to do a share screen as usual. All right. Don't forget, our 50% off is going to be ending June 1st. So Kaylee is really awesome. She changed this up. We have virtual training here. If you guys pop onto the virtual training page, it will, if it goes, I think it's going, don't worry. Just hang tight. I'm going to tell you a great story. On the virtual training, everything on there, every single course, every single piece on there is 50% off. So when it loads, I'll pop back over to it. Being on Zoom, it sometimes can take a little bit. Over here, this is what our treatment planning course looks like. So you guys can see the treatment coordinators down here. Welcome to the treatment coordinator A team, breaking it all down, insurance breakdowns, financials, troubleshooting, common errors, verbiage, all of this. This is what your team will get. Also, you guys can see on Welcome to Treatment Coordinators, we have this, and you guys are going to be able to have all the pieces to this. So there's a workbook that's downloadable, all these different pieces. You guys, the internet today is incredibly slow, so I apologize. I might have Tiff pop over and show you guys. We'll do a switch share screen. So make sure you guys are popping in there. I want you guys to be there. Thank you. Make sure you guys see that. We want you guys, thank you for sending the worksheets over as well, Rachel. But make sure you guys get your teams in there. 50% off of everything, including the Dental A team training in a box. So you guys, Rachel just sent over our worksheets. We're going to dive into this. You guys saw the course. You saw that it's here. There's so many pieces in here. I want you guys to make sure you leave treatment planning all stars. So let's dive into treatment planning made simple. Today is part 1 of our 2-week course. And on that, there are going to be 4 steps we're going to dive into, okay? So grab your pens. This paper is for you. These workshops are made for you. Rachel just put those into the chat. Does everybody have their worksheets? Please let us know if you've got the worksheet. Put it in the chat. Give us a yes. Let us know. Talk to us. Do you have your worksheets? You're ready to rock and roll. Tell us. Tell us. Tell us. Give us a yes. Do you have those worksheets? Did you get them? Got them. Yes. Okay. Yes, we've got it. Okay, fantastic. This is proactive learning. If you guys will actually participate and work through this, you're going to learn way more together. So treatment planning made simple. All right, how to present a treatment plan. There's going to be 4 steps we're going to dive into today. First step, this number 1 right here. You're going to write insurance verification. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is going to be input and phase. Step 3 is scheduling. Step 4 is presenting. Okay. And I purposely put these in an order just like this because this is pretty much how this rolls out. Coaches, Tiff and Ash, please join in. Laramie, I know your internet's a little slow. Feel free to pop in the chat if you'd like. So with that said, what we're going to do is insurance verification first, input and phase, scheduling, presenting. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Why on earth do we put them in that order? Tiff and Ash, give us kind of your thoughts. Like, why would I, because I didn't prep Tiffany and Ashley on this. They sometimes just wing it with me. Why would we put the steps of how to present a treatment plan in that order of insurance verification, input and phase? And what I mean by that is the treatment planning phase, phasing it 1, 2, 3, 4, scheduling, and then presenting. I mean, it's called treatment planning presenting. Why is presenting number 4? Tiff, Ash, thoughts on that? You want to give us some feedback?
I was real quick because sorry, Ash, I'm taking over.
Go for it, Tiffy.
I am like the biggest insurance verification proactive person in the entire world. If your insurance verification is not done correctly, you will end up with billing problems. So I have so many offices coming to me for billing help, and that's where it starts. You cannot properly present a treatment plan if you don't have the insurance verification accurate and
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. Ash, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that numbers 1 through 3 totally play into presenting as well. So as you're presenting, if patients have questions, if you have those first 3 already down and figured out, like your insurance verification, inputting and phase, you confidently know what their insurance is going to cover. You confidently know how the treatment plan is going to be phased out. You've put that into the system and you've got them to commit already by scheduling. So step number 4 is just presenting it and getting that yes.
Oh, exactly. So you guys, so often I would say that we jumble this up, and I would say it goes like presenting, then scheduling, then we're trying to phase it. So we might phase first, then try and present, then we're scheduling, and then we do insurance verification when it comes back. So often we think insurance verification does not apply to treatment planning. I'm guilty. My first practice that I owned, I was presenting treatment plans and I didn't do insurance verification. I had never done that. I'd work in fee-for-service offices. We didn't care. We just said, here's the fee, I'll bill your insurance. So what happened was when I started putting insurance verification in there, because I got asked a lot of questions on treatment planning. When we had the insurance verification done, we had confidence on it because, hey, guess what? This insurance verification, I know what's happening. Tiff has already verified it for me. I can confidently present. So we're going to pop into insurance verification first. We're going to walk through these 4 steps, give you guys some pointers. It'll be a quick overview. Don't worry, at the end of today's webinar, we will be having any Q&A. So if you guys are having questions, whether it's related to treatment planning or not, pop it in the Q&A. We will be asking. So I want you guys to just build that Q&A for us. We're going to shake, rattle, and roll with you this afternoon. Okay, so you should have received a form from Rachel. She put it in there. We make these forms for you. If you guys look at this insurance verification form, you can thank Tiffany. I'm pretty sure she's the one who made this one for us. Here is a sample insurance eligibility form, okay? So we have all this down. And then over here, we also have a template for insurance notes. So you guys can actually get this information. You can have this template. You can ask these questions when you're on the phone. Tiff, you want to walk us through some of the quick highlights on insurance verification in connection to treatment planning that you suggest they look for when doing this verification?
For sure. There's always the basic, the maximums, the deductibles, the 180, 50% or whatever they do. But the most important pieces that a lot of offices miss that I see are oral surgery. What is oral surgery considered? Because it can go under basic or major. And then missing tooth clause, right? Does the missing tooth clause apply? And then also, does preventative apply to the maximum? There are a ton of offices that don't, or a ton of insurances that don't apply your preventative treatment to your maximum. So we're estimating that a patient's going to max out on something when they actually have a couple $100 still left. What else? Gosh, there's so many good ones. Your x-rays, what are your x-rays covered at? Many times insurances will cover x-rays at 80%, not the typical 100% under preventative. And then all 4 quadrants of SRP, are they okay on the same day? This has been a huge change in the last 4 years for insurance companies. It used to be that kind of willy-nilly, you could do it whenever you wanted. But then Delta Dental got smart and stepped in and started saying that you could only do 2 quads per visit and they had to be 7 days apart. I don't know why, but they did it.
7 days.
I love them for that. And then other ones started following thereafter. Let's see what else. Popping down occlusal guards. So occlusal guards are huge. Use both of your codes. There's only a hard one on there, but I know a lot of you guys are doing soft night guards as well. And you want to know what it's going to be covered at, but then you always want to make sure that it's covered for bruxism. A lot of insurance companies will only cover it for osseous surgery, and you have to send a narrative and a reason. It'll come back denied. Posterior crowns, will they be downgraded? If they are downgraded, what's the downgrade code? Knowing that downgrade code, and if it's molars and bicuspids or just molars, knowing that code will help you plug it into your system correctly and be able to treatment plan. Buildups are oftentimes covered as a basic service, like a filling, and we quote it as a major service, or that's not covered at all in conjunction with the crown. So you've got to know if it's going to be covered or not. Posterior fillings, same as the crowns. You want to know if they're downgraded. You don't need to know the downgrade code because they're going to be site specific and it's going to be based on your amalgam rates. Mm-hmm. Then your filling replacement period is huge because So at the other replacement periods up top, I missed. Oh no, it's right here. Sorry. Filling replacement and crown replacements are huge. Filling, I find to be really huge because we forget that there's a replacement period. We'll get a new patient and we'll say, or we'll have our existing patient and they have a chipped filling. We don't know when they had it done. Our existing patient just had it done and we just do it and send it off. Many insurance companies will only cover a filling once every 24 months. Some are 12 months, but more likely they're 24 months. And then popping down to the best part on the bottom is, are they paid, sorry, up a little bit. Are they paid on the prep or seat date? So that's your crowns, your bridges, your dentures. Are they paid on the prep or seat date? Why does that make a huge difference? Because come December 25th, when we're prepping a crown on Christmas Day for someone, and they don't pay until seat date, renewing January 1st, we're quoting them off of this year's benefits and not next year. If that crown is not seated within this year, it will be paid on next year's benefits. So you need to know when it's going to be paid and then what their replacement period is. I always like to ask my patients, if we did not do the crown, I used to ask my patients, when do you think this crown was done? And that will help. Or you can call the insurance company and ask them if they've got one on file for that specific treatment. Yeah. Okay, now we can go down. Am I going too fast or is this okay?
I think you're good. You guys give us a good, or ask questions, pop them in the Q&A, or you guys can pop in the chat if you're having questions on the insurance verification.
Yeah. So template, this is huge. This is something that I make sure all of my offices are doing, and we did it in my office for years. So all of those questions that we just asked in that insurance verification, there's a template right here. Keep it on a Word document. I copy it, and then I paste it into the notes section within my dental software. So within Dentrix, it's in the little notes. I think it's the lower left-hand side. But you can do it in Open Dental as well. All of them have a spot. So then you just go through quickly using that sheet you just filled out with the insurance carrier. You're going through this template and you're filling it in per group. That is very specific. These insurance benefits that you just asked minus frequency history is per group. So that giant verification you should only need to do once if you're labeling your group numbers correctly and you're putting these notes in correctly. You should not need to do it multiple times. Here's another huge point to make. It could change, so every year it needs to be done again, okay? Open Dental has two different spots that you can put notes. One is for the subscriber, which will only be on that patient's account. The other is for the insurance group. So these notes should go under your insurance group. Then you just pop through, you get really fast at it when you're doing it. You've got your coordination of benefits, your waiting period, all of those things. So your treatment coordinator, when she's getting the plan prepped, she can now just open up the insurance notes, pop through there, and make sure she's got the insurance information for that treatment plan. So if a patient has a missing tooth clause, right, she's coordinating all of the benefits correctly and treatment planning that bridge or that implant correctly, whether it's going to be paid or not. Sometimes they'll pay the retainers and not the pontic, right, if there's a missing tooth clause. So she has to be very careful. That's how you end up with billing mistakes later, where you're calling your patient and telling them that they owe you an additional $800 for the bridge that they have in their mouth, right? And now you're fighting with them, trying to get them to pay for something they already have. These are how you get around that and ensure that your treatment plan is as accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm. Awesome tip. And I love this because you guys, I can't tell you how many offices I walk in and when they go to present a treatment plan, it is literally like hand chicken scratch coordination. And they'll write it on the treatment plan. You have this information as a backup, but you put this into your software. Your software is smart enough to get you about 95% of the time accurate. So there's no reason we should be sitting there with hand calculations, figuring it out. So many offices, I think, miss same-day treatment opportunities. They miss presenting in an accurate way. And so having this insurance verification information in there will give you the confidence, because I didn't care what question they asked me. I'd be like, let me just look in here. And also, insurance is just a coupon. It is just a benefit. It is not the leading guiding source, but patients are going to ask you questions. So if you have this information in there, like Tip was saying, all those different questions, guess what? When they ask you, even if you don't know it, you can pop in here and look. It is very frustrating as a treatment coordinator when someone else is verifying my insurance. I go to present, they ask me a question, I pop in here expecting it to be there and it's missing. And I'm like, well, shoot. Now I've got to say like, hey, let's schedule you. I'll call you back with this information. You want to have this information in there ahead of time so you can just rock and roll, give them with confidence the treatment plan. So first steps first, get a solid insurance verification plan done. It's going to ramp up treatment planning. We are trying to teach you guys how to teach your back office to treatment plan. If they can treatment plan, less congestion in the front, more efficiency, same day treatment, things like that. So first steps first, insurance verification must be done. We recommend it's done for all of your hygiene patients and your new patients. So questions on insurance verification. This is your guys' workshop. What questions do you have regarding insurance verification? Pop them in the chat. We'll answer them. You can put them in the Q&A. What questions do you have regarding insurance verification before we move on? Tiffany had a really good point on there as you guys are putting some questions in there, that the software is a computer. It is meant to do math. Let it do the work for you. Human error is way more likely when it comes to numbers, and I completely agree with it. Okay, you guys doing okay out there? I hope so. All right, moving on. So we just talked about insurance verification. You should have gotten some notes. Make sure you're tagging them. I like to do a little asterisk on all my appointments so I can quickly glance and see all of the appointments have been verified. I don't have to go back and like check in, was it verified? We just have a quick view on the schedule. So like a little asterisk next to their procedures. You can find a spot to put it, but have a system where you know all these patients have been verified and it's a quick, fast check. The next one's going to be input and phase. I can't tell you how many times a patient is brought up to the front and they say, hey, Kara, could you get this treatment plan done? I'm like, totally, no problem. I go in there and it's this giant list of all the procedures. And I'm like, cool. So where are we starting? Like, you want me to present the whole shebang? You want me to do, are we starting with number 7? Am I just supposed to figure this out? So docs, it is paramount that you tell us where we're starting. We don't care where you start. We're not judging you. We're not criticizing. We just need to know where you're starting. So make sure quadrant dentistry is our favorite, but the input and phase, we strongly, strongly, strongly encourage and advise that no ifs, ands, or buts. Phase 1 is always put in, meaning we always know what the next visit is. So if it's you have a whole mouth that you've done, I don't care about all of it. I need at least phase 1 so we can present the treatment for phase 1. Generally speaking, unless it's a really big one, like an implant case, a full mouth, we're probably just going to present in phases. Hey, Tiff, you've got about 4 visits. So let's focus on the first one. We'll get you scheduled for this one, bring you back for the next one. It's very unlikely that we present an entire treatment plan all at one time. So you've got to give us phase 1. Phase 1 has to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. So we want to make sure you guys really, truly can, you can have that as something to input and phase. Ash, you got any thoughts on inputting and phase, things you want to add on to that?
I was just thinking, this not only creates clarity, docs, when you do this for your dental assistants, but it also creates so much more clarity for the patient as well. So many times, like having worked as a dental assistant, the doctor will go in, they'll explain the treatment, and they'll go through the phases. They'll explain that right directly to the patient, but then they leave the room, and now it's my turn as the dental assistant to present the treatment plan and schedule. So I oftentimes need to go over that information again, right? I need to make sure there's clarity around the expectations so that the patient can have that case acceptance, because they're going to be more likely to say yes if they understand exactly what's going on.
Awesome. So go ahead, Tiff.
You see the Q&A. What about a patient that wants to know the total amount?
Great question. So the patient wants to know the total amount of treatment. We will absolutely tell them the total amount of treatment. Right now, I'll tell them like, so Tiff, your ballpark's around, $25K or whatever it is. This is the ballpark. We're going to focus on phase 1. We're going to get phase 1 done because that's easier to digest. 25,000, unless they're doing implants, usually is something where I just focus on that. Tiff, Ash, do you guys have different opinions? That's my opinion of what I prefer to do. Tiff?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think you should always answer the patient's question. Right. You should never leave them hanging and just say like, well, that's a great question, but we're going to focus in on this. Always give them something because they need to know, for whatever reason, their own personal reasons, they need to know what they're about to get themselves into. So yeah, a ballpark, full case, we're looking at about 25 grand overall. Our most important piece though is going to be this upper right, because you've got an infection there today. And I don't want that to get any worse. We'll piece it together. We'll get to every step and we'll try to keep any of this from getting any worse. But right now what I'm saying would be about 25,000. This upper right is 1,500 out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Thanks for that. Good question out there as well. All right. So that's your input and phase. And if your doctor doesn't give it to you, ask them. Hey doc, so where do you want to start with Tiffany? That way I can make sure we've got her squared away. The doctor saying it to the patient helps a ton. I know we like to hang out behind the operatory, which I still don't know why we have this secret meeting, unless you got to give them a heads up on something the patient shouldn't hear. Like their breath is terrible, heads up, put a mask on and do a little wipe of topical in your mask or whatever you want to smell. Beyond that though, I don't know what these secret meetings hang tight outside of their ops. Say it in front of the patient docs, hey Kira, we want to start with the upper right. That's going to give me as the patient clarity as well. And so it's really helpful to say it in front of the patient. Then all three of us are connected on the same page versus just talk to doc and they said you should start here. Well, it comes a lot better if doctor says it, then I can reinforce it. Treatment coordinator can reinforce it as well. So up next is scheduling. You guys have heard us talk about scheduling, okay? So we've got insurance verifications done. Then we go to the input and phase. We've got it phased out. We know where it's going to happen. And it's okay. If you have multiple treatment plans, that's fine. At least phase the first part of both treatment plans. They'll go up to the treatment coordinator. I'm going to say, hey, do you want to do the implant or the bridge? Let's talk shop. Which one are we going? I want to do the implant. Fantastic. Let's go for that one. I want to do the bridge. Fantastic. I'm going to go that way. And we'll make notes. Patient elected to do implant so we can get rid of the bridge treatment plan. That's going to help you guys have cleaner treatment plans as well. I think so often people get really sticky on their treatment plans because there's so many options. Narrow it down. We're going to say one or two. What do you want to go? And then we're going to start working on the one they choose. So scheduling, you guys know, we're going to say, hey, let's get you scheduled. We don't say, do you want to get scheduled? Let's get you scheduled for that crown that doctor just recommended. I've got Monday or Tuesday, which works best for you. Okay. So it's super important. Why? I'm going to ask a question. Why? And I want you guys to answer. Pop it in the chat. I won't say your names. Don't stress. Why is it important to schedule next before we present treatment plans? Why? Why even do that? Give me some reasons. Pop it in that chat. What do you guys think?
I'm going to pop in and let Steve know. I'm going to answer that here in just a couple minutes.
Thank you. We got to get a commitment from the patient to remove a barrier. Good. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Why are we going to schedule first before presenting a treatment plan? So you don't forget. Yes, great. That's a good reason. That's tip. So they don't back out. Another good reason. Absolutely. You want your patient to commit first. Assume the yes. I like that. Way to go, Ashley. I can tell that you're a Dental 18 fan already. Absolutely. So for me, I like it because I'm putting focus on treatment, not on dollars. So, hey, we're getting this done. We're doing treatment. Then the solution is just to figure out how to pay for it financially. So that's why I do it, because we're focusing on, all right, let's get this crown done. If they ask me, no problem. Tiff's a wizard with numbers. She'll help you out. Today, we're teaching you guys how to present this in the back. Not a problem. I'll get that. I just want to make sure we've got a spot in the schedule first, and then we'll talk about numbers. No problem. So that's why we schedule. You guys know, let's get you scheduled. Offer the 2 times. We focused on that last time, so we're not going to dive too much into that. Okay, so you guys have it. So up next on this worksheet, I did it in a different order. We said presenting. I'm actually going to skip over that, and it's going to go to assumptions and assuming the yes. Before we do that, Rachel has a poll. Rachel, do you want to run that poll? Because we want to find out who our audience is out there. And I'll be honest, I don't know how to set up the poll. So Rachel, I don't see it on any of my commands, just so you know. So, Rachel's the best. All right, you guys, answer these questions. That was magical, Rachel. I don't know where you came from, but I love it. Okay, so you guys answer the question. We want to know who we have here. So what's your title or your position in the practice? Go ahead and answer who you are. Host and panelists can't vote. So sorry, Tiff and Ash, we can't do it. All right, you guys, answer that question. Rachel, when it's ready to go to the next one, I think you have to do it. I have no idea. I'll be honest.
Don't try to tell her what to do. She's got this.
She's got this. Okay. I think there's 3 questions.
Hello, Dental 18 listeners. I am so excited because we have truly been fortunate and blessed to work with so many incredible practices across the nation and globe. We have what is called our Platinum practice, and that is super popular. And this quarter, we are only bringing in 3 new Platinum practices. This is an area that is going to grow you exponentially. So give us a call. We only have limited space. I said only 3 this quarter due to popularity and demand. So let's get you in as a Platinum practice this quarter.
I think. Okay, so answer in this poll. Beautiful, Rachel, did you get it? All right, so we have, Rachel, this is magical. So we've got our doctors, we've got OMs, we've got some hygienists and some others, probably admin. All right, fantastic. Rachel, do you have a few more questions you want to ask them? Because this is going to tie into our presenting treatment plans. I think she's going to have another question pop up, I think.
I love the conversation with her. She's just like a ghost in the background.
She is a ghost. I feel like I'm talking to space. All right, who currently does treatment plans in your practice? Answer the question, guys. Is it the front office, dental assistants, hygiene, or other? Other could be doctor. Front office, we're going to also include that as a treatment coordinator. Dental assistants, hygienist, or other. Click who currently does treatment plans in your practice. We want to know, because this is going to help us know who to target this workshop for. I really do feel like it's magical. I'm like, when are the answers going to show up? I can just see Rachel like, I just watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs this weekend, and they were like on the computer. All right, go ahead and answer in the chat. Rachel, do we have our answers? All right, we have mostly front office, a few dental assistants, no hygienists, and a few others. I'm assuming doctors probably. All right, Rachel, you got one last question for us. Dun, dun, dun. Treatment case acceptance, where do you fall? What is your case acceptance? This isn't and if you don't know, put the 30 to 60 so we'll know you guys don't know. Don't guess. I used to think that I was a rockin' awesome treatment coordinator. I'm not going to lie. I used to say I had 95% case acceptance. Reality was I had like a 65%. So if you don't know, put it in the 30 to 60. We'll know you're not tracking it. We want to know actual case acceptance. And on this one, we'll do a 1-for-1, not dollar for dollar on this. So meaning if I present a $5,000 treatment plan, Tiff just decides to do the bleaching for $150, I still get 100% case acceptance on that. We'll focus on that for this time. Put it in there. If you don't know or you're not tracking it, put it at the 30 to 60%. And most treatment coordinators think they do better than they really do. Guilty over here. Completely guilty. All right, Rachel, all right. So we have quite a few of you in that 30 to 60. We've got some up in the 75 to 85. So what that tells me is of the people here, most of us probably aren't tracking it. So tracking your case acceptance will instantly increase your case acceptance, instantly. Because as soon as I found out what I was doing right or wrong, that was super helpful for me. Because then I could see, hey, I don't know how to present implants. My implants are never closing. That boosted my case acceptance. Just merely tracking it is going to help. Rachel actually has a great question. Are you guys tracking case acceptance, yes or no? Go ahead and pop that in there. Are you guys doing it or not? And it's okay. There's no judgment here. We're just trying to get a poll of where you are. And also for you, like we visualized, if you're going to get incredible case acceptance, these are some of the tips to help you guys get those yeses every single time. All right, Rachel, are most people tracking or not tracking? All right, we've got most of you are not tracking. Some of you are tracking. So good answers on that. Fantastic for helping with that. All right, you guys. So on that, tracking this treatment plan is going to help a ton. And making sure you really do know. Talk to your treatment coordinators. Talk to it. Also break it up per treatment coordinator. So Tiff should have one. I should have one. So we can see collectively and also individually is going to help a lot between if your dental assistants are presenting. Cool. Train them how to do this. Treat them the exact same as you would a treatment coordinator. And that's going to help you guys. So before we go into presenting, I'm actually going to hold that because I realized after we made this worksheet, some of these things are going to tie into presenting. So now we're to the nuts and bolts of presenting. You guys have insurance verification. We've got inputting and phasing. We've got scheduling. Now we're going to go to assuming the yes. Okay. So on assumptions, with this, what we mean is so often we think that we're just like the person we're presenting to. I think Tiffany loves unicorns and rainbows and sprinkles. I think Ashley makes the exact same amount as I do. I think that you sitting over there love Dole Whips at Disneyland like I do. That's what I assume, because as human beings, we try to connect with people. We try to make them just like us. And the reality is they're not. They're not. I don't know what's in Ashley's bank account. I don't know what's in Tiff's. I actually do know what's in mine, but I don't know what's in your guys's, okay? I have no idea. I don't know if you won the lottery. I don't know if you got a blog. I don't know if you got the stimulus check or you didn't get the stimulus check. My nephew is just in town and he works at a gun range. And he told me it's quite interesting because as soon as the stimulus check went out, all of a sudden, all these people came to the gun range to buy a gun. And they'd say, well, my budget's like about $1,000 to $1,200. He's like, convenient. Wonder why your budget's that way. You probably just got the stimulus check. Okay. So I have no idea what your life is like. And what's interesting is I was watching, and in the offices we've coached, Tiff and Ash, I'm curious on your take. I started noticing that treatment coordinators, unless they really were trained and they had gotten over this hurdle, myself included, you guys, when I was a treatment coordinator, I was included in this, that my treatment plans would normally fall what I actually had in my bank account. So if I had, let's say, $1,000, most of my yeses were my $1,000 range on treatment plans. If it was above that, I usually wouldn't close them. Below that, I could close it. And I started watching. It was interesting. I was in a team meeting a little while ago. And as I was sitting around the table, there were 4 treatment coordinators in there. You looked at their stats. The one guy who's had the lowest acceptance was the guy who didn't want to buy lunch because he's like, it's too expensive. I can't afford that. His case acceptance was averaging between 500 and 1,000. Now, the other people are like, it's all right, we got this. Their case acceptance were closer to 3,000 to 8,000. It doesn't mean that that's 100% accurate, but I've just seen a trend. And I think it's because we assume everyone's just like us. Like, well, I don't want to put that on them. That's a total burden. So like, well, if I couldn't afford $5,000, why would Ashley be able to afford $5,000? I don't know. Ashley's got a freaking rich aunt that just dumped money in her account. I have no idea. All I know is I can only assume the yes, assume they want to get treatment and find the solution for that. So if I assume everybody, I don't care how big or small that treatment plan is, I can assume they want to get the treatment done. My job is to find the solution, regardless of what my personal beliefs are, regardless of what my bank account is. That's what I found. Tiff, Ash, any thoughts on that you guys want to add in from what you've seen? Tiff.
Yeah, I'll do my woo-woo thoughts. You will attract whatever you believe. So if you believe that it's difficult to pay $2,000 for something, you're going to attract that result. So you're going to put it out there in your mind. You're like, I can't afford this. And so you're going to attract that same result where now your person is saying to afford it. And then as human beings, we're naturally empathetic to our own situations and we place them on other people. So just like Kira said, my biggest thing with offices is I work here and I can't even afford this. How in the world is someone else supposed to afford it? That's all I got.
I like it. Thank you, Tiff. You're exactly right, you guys. Whatever you think is what you'll create. So I said I wanted to start closing every case. That was my standard. I'm like, I think Kaylee's on here. We're about to release a podcast called The Buy or Die Mentality, and cute, adorable Kaylee that you would never think this. She has this mentality when she goes to close cases, it's like buy or die, and not like actually dying, but she has this mentality like, I will find the solution and you're going to find a way to say yes to me, or else like we're dead to each other and I'm not going to let that happen. And so I love that because when I started having that mentality, I will close every case because I will find the solution. My case acceptance skyrocketed. It was crazy. It didn't matter. You guys, I closed $80,000 treatment plans. That's buying a boat if you don't know. Like, hey, let's swipe the credit card for 80 grand today. That's freaking insanity. And it was the same mentality and same delivery as it was for a $500 case. Ash, what are your thoughts?
I was just kind of going off of what we've already said too, is that as humans, it's definitely in our nature to be very judgmental. And we make judgments based off of first impressions, appearances, everything. But I think for me in presenting some treatment plans, just speaking to my own past history, working with patients who were on like Medicaid or Medicare and assuming that they weren't going to accept that $60,000 treatment plan. But I mean, once you actually get into the habit of just assuming that yes, and presenting the treatment plan, regardless of whatever judgments you may have against them, you really have to struggle, I guess, really to let that go and to turn off that judgmental tendency that we all just naturally have. But doing that really pays off because you'd be surprised at how many patients sitting out there that we may think they don't have a lot of money, but like you mentioned, like you don't know their background, their story, what they have sitting in their bank account. So it's super important. It's not easy, but it's super important to be able to do that.
For sure. Ashley, you said something so powerful of as human natures, we judge naturally. That's what we do. We're creatures to judge, like friend, foe, or potential mate. I'm constantly judging just because I'm a human being. So if I know I'm going to judge and I'm going to assume and have assumptions, why not assume the yes? Why not assume they want to say yes to me? Because I already am naturally going to have a bias. I can just filter that, change that, and create that. So with that, that's the first thing on assumptions. We think just like people are us. Our bank account, it's like, check to see, are you closing cases? Are your team members? Watch your dental assistants when you start to have them. It's crazy. And you can help them overcome this by assuming the yes. The next point is point, don't speak. What I mean by that is when you're presenting a treatment plan, and this came later years, I used to say, okay, Ashley, so your treatment plan is going to be $15,000. It looks like your insurance is estimated to pay $645,500. There we go. And it looks like your out-of-pocket total is going to be, say, $7,000. Okay. When I say those words out loud, that all of a sudden becomes really, really scary. But if I point like, hey, looks like our total treatment will be this. Looks like your insurance is estimated to pay this, and it looks like your out-of-pocket will be this. By just pointing to it versus speaking it out loud, it doesn't become as scary and it doesn't become as audacious as it might sound coming out. I can look at a 7,000 and say like, okay, that's $7,000, or I can hear that $7,000. I'm like, whoa, shoot, that's $7,000. So pointing, not speaking, will help a lot when you guys are presenting. Insurance is a tool. What are you leading with? I can't tell you how many treatment plans I've heard when the person goes to present and they're like, okay, so it looks like with your insurance. That's seriously the first phrase out of their mouth. You just created a world of insurance. Okay, they're going to ask you every insurance question. What does my insurance cover? Why do I have this? What's going on? Because I led with insurance. Instead, if we lead with, hey, looks like your total for the treatment plan is this. Insurance is estimated to pay this, with your total being this. By doing that, you're leading into a world of, we're doing treatment. And insurance is just a tool. It's just a benefit. And that's all we're using it. So I want you guys to think and to listen and to watch. And so often, I know I'm guilty of it. I used to present a treatment plan of, so with your insurance, because that felt safe to me. I felt I was giving them a coupon. I felt I was doing them a favor. And I was actually doing a huge disservice because I got their minds thinking about insurance. I don't know if you guys know, insurance is like the best friend you could ever have, and it's never going to pay a dang dime. I'm just kidding. It's the worst friend you could ever have. You don't want insurance. Insurance is a coupon. It helps. There's a piece to it. There are benefits to it. But overall, it's just a coupon, and that's all it is. So what do you lead with? Watch yourself. Train your teams. This is why we're doing these workshops. Train your teams. What are you leading with? We'll get the results. So if you're leading with, we're going to do this treatment. This is your total for treatment. Here's what your insurance is going to estimated to help pay, and this will be your total. Or are we leading with, so it looks like your insurance will pay, da, 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 da. Watch what you lead with. And then this last piece, Tiffany has coined this one, the art of silence. And this one, I love what Tiff said. Tiff taught me this one, I think, in the best way I've ever heard it. When you present a treatment plan, so let's say I'm talking to Tiffany, hey, Tiff, looks like your treatment plan is going to be $1,500 for the total treatment of that crown. It looks like your insurance is estimated to pay X, and it looks like your total out of pocket will be, and I'll say it out loud, let's say it's going to be $500 for her. Okay. So I just presented that to her. I show her, I point to it. Tiffany, then I've got to be quiet. I just told her, I'm not going to assume she has money problems. I'm not going to assume she wants a treatment plan or a payment plan. I'm not going to assume that she can't afford this. I'm not going to assume that she's going to break up with me. I'm literally just going to be like, okay. And there's an art of silence. And when Tiffany taught me this, she said, I think the best way I've understood it is, Tiff on the other side just got told she's got to pay $500. She's not upset about it. She's just literally in her mind trying to figure out like, okay, how can I make this work? Do I need to like transfer money over? I've got a few extra shifts that I could pick up so that way I could pay for this. She's literally just trying to figure it out. And me sitting on the other side, I'm like, oh shoot, Tiff's not saying a word. She like hates me. She thinks I'm the worst person. I need to give her a discount so she'll say yes to me. And I start building this whole story. That's not true. Tiff, any other thoughts on the art of silence you want to add on that, since this is your phrase?
Yeah, I love the art of silence. It's something that I learned in some training that I've done a ton of years ago. The art of silence is key because what we do is we actually create problems that they didn't know they had, right? So when we answer questions that have not been asked, the other person has the opportunity to go, oh, maybe it is too much. Maybe I can't afford it. I was just going to put it on my Capital One card, but maybe I do need care credit because I can't afford it. or I was just going to pull money out of my savings, but maybe I need to keep that money and put it on something else, but I didn't get approved. So that means that I can't afford it. But really they had the money. So what you're doing is you're inputting information, right? Let them ask you. Let them come to you. You have no idea what they're cycling through in their brain. They could be thinking, well, little Susie has ballet at 3 p.m., but Johnny has baseball at 10 a.m. during the summer, right? And we've got childcare from 11 to 1. So she could be trying to figure out when can she get in there without Susie and Johnny. And you're over here saying, we have all of these payment plans. And now she's like, well, wait, maybe I should talk to my husband first because this is a lot of money. You just lost your schedule, right? Mm-hmm. So just don't create problems they didn't realize they had.
Absolutely. Tiff, I love it so much because I didn't think about that. I used to think I was like super helpful. Okay, let me share all of our payment options with you. And guys, stop. I remember I went to the van store a couple of months ago and we were buying them. I remember this girl at the register was like, so Kira, so do you want to answer our survey? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? She would not stop asking me questions and giving me information that I was like, get me out of here. Because it was so much of things that I didn't even care about. I didn't need to hear. And so it became overload. So really having that art of silence, hey, here's our treatment. Here's the insurance estimate. And this will be your total. And just smile. Like, just smile. You're going to say yes and wait for them to come to you with the question or concern. You will get it. I promise you they will ask. They ask every time. If I'm like, shoot, I don't have $4,000 to pay for this, I'm going to say, hey, Tiff, $4,000's a lot. I might say, okay, thank you. But you can tell. People are really solid. If I'm like, okay, thanks. Be like, hey, let's talk about this. What questions? I'm sensing the vibe that you're not totally confident. What are your questions? Let's talk about it. Let's find a solution. And then I'm like, okay, $4,000 is way too much for me. What can we do?
Yeah.
So if you got something?
And say, it's uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, because everyone wants to fill empty space with something. We do it everywhere we go. You'll do it with the sales clerk at the grocery store. We just want to fill that space. So the best thing to do is to role play with someone. You just sit and stare at each other and you go until you can get to 10 minutes without laughing, breaking the stare, or totally just like falling out of your chair, right? So that helps. You can role play that, but know it is uncomfortable, that it takes time to get used to it. And if the patient does, like Kara just says like, okay, well, thank you. Just say, fantastic. I'm so excited to work with you. What questions do you have for me? So you're bringing them back in, and then they're going to say, well, I'm just not sure. Okay, what part are you unsure about? So now you're digging, but you're not answering. Like, well, is it the payments? Is it the money? Well, no, like let them come to you. Like, what are you unsure about? What are you hesitant about?
Mm-hmm. And I think we so often want to be helpful. And so we're going to guess. But that's just to make us less uncomfortable. That's all it is. It's for us selfishly, because I don't want to sit here awkwardly like, well, let's talk about money then, because I've got a solution for that. Otherwise, if I'm like, what are you unsure about? I'm a little anxious because I don't know what you're going to come to me at. You need to be confident in yourself. And what I would tell myself is, Kira Dent, you're a freaking rock star. Like, this sounds ridiculous, you guys. This is literally my pep talk to myself. Kira Dent, you're a freaking rock star, and you will always find a solution no matter what comes your way. Always. That started when I was a treatment coordinator. That started when I was a dental assistant, trying to like frantically floss when the cement was setting so fast and I thought I was going to die and the crown was going to like be stuck forever. That was like me saying like, there's always a solution and I'm going to find it. Okay. Those things happen. So if you have confidence in yourself that you'll always find a solution, what are you unsure about, Tiff? Because I'm confident that no matter what it is, I will find a solution for her. I'm not having to give away the farm. I'm not having to give discounts. We will find a solution. Ashley.
And I was just going to totally agree with that, and also say a great way to boost your confidence, like we've already mentioned, and we mention every single week, is role playing. It's huge, because the more you can interact with human beings, practice being silent, the more you can navigate these questions that pop up unexpectedly. Oh man, we're role playing. I don't know how to handle that. Well, great. I'm so glad the question happened now versus in front of a patient, right? Let's talk about the verbiage. Let's handle it. Let's figure out a way to boost that confidence, and you'll see that skyrocket to case acceptance.
Absolutely. I love that. Ashley, thank you so much for that. All right, you guys, you've been dying for this. So we're going to pop over to this presenting. Tiffany's like our guru on billing, and she makes beautiful forms. So this is a form that Tiff made. You guys, you can use this. I personally print straight from my software. Tiff loved using this form. There's Flex and Medento. Those are fantastic softwares because guess what? You don't even have to awkwardly ask the question. It says, do you want to pay in full 3-month option or a 12-month option? And they're like, 3 months. Okay. It's very simple. There's so many simple ways to treatment plan. I'm going to have Tiff pop in on this of a treatment plan estimate. I think this is a beautiful tool. We wanted to go through it because this is what happens when you present, okay? You've scheduled, you've gotten everything ready to go. You know you're not going to lead with insurance. You're going to lead with the total amount. Tiff, walk us through this treatment plan estimate that you've so nicely built for us.
Thank you. I had some help. I've got some girls on the other side here that helped me out with that. And Steve, this is going to answer your question. So this is how I like to do it. You can also create this in Excel and or Adobe. Adobe's really great too, and you can fill it on the computer and then print it out so that, again, we're eliminating some human error issues. But what I do is I pull up my treatment plan on my software, my dental software, and I transfer the information. So as Steve had asked, do you recommend bundling treatment phases into one total, like one white crown, one filling will be $1,200 or listing all procedures out individually? I don't like the a la carte method. I don't like a patient to be able to see everything because for one, most dental softwares are going to give you 4 or 5 different numbers. It's like your insurance, your copay, your secondary insurance, your copay, and then our total fee, right? So that's a lot of numbers, and your patients are staring at all these numbers, just getting overwhelmed. And then all of the treatment, right? One crown has at least 3 different codes. You've got the crown, you've got the buildup, you've got the seat at minimum, right? That's a lot of things. And they're thinking, holy cow, this is a ton of stuff. Or I've had patients go, well, can I just do this one? Because it's only $60.80. And you're like, well, that's the buildup. So that goes under the crown. So yes, like Steve said, this is how I do it. I take those numbers. The girls have already phased it out for me. My first visit is a crown on the upper right and a filling. So I would literally write under visit 1 here, upper right, crown, and filling, right? And then for the cost, I fill in the patient portion. Okay, this is huge. The cost on the end there is your patient portion. What do they owe out of pocket? Okay, so whatever you want to make that, perfect. And then you're going to go down the list. So visit 2 could be upper left bridge, right? And then you're going to fill in the patient portion. So then you're going to pop down here. It says, thank you, Kira. Yes, beautiful, good job. Good thinking. So then it says treatment plan total. That's going to be the total cost of everything you just said, including insurance, right? So your treatment plan total.
Oh, I lied. That should be more like $1,597.
I like your numbers.
You're welcome.
Working on Blue Cross Blue Shield right now. Pennies. Okay, so if that's your treatment plan total, then you're going to say, right, you've already gone over your patient's portions. They know you started with patient portion. Now you're saying this was your total. We're hoping that your insurance will contribute this amount. And then I would not want to do that math. So just
don't worry, I'm on it. I got you figured out.
It's a bit hard. I use even numbers like 4.
Yeah, I should have. It's totally fine. It's fine.
And then your total patient is exactly what it said up front. Okay, so now you're going through what they need. You're bundling it. There's no more a la carte. It's just straightforward and easy. For us to fix that upper right area, it's this amount. For us to fix your left area, it's this amount. Okay, you're starting with your patient portion, then going into the rest. Then underneath, you guys, I customize this for every office that I go into. The bottom is almost always different. Here, this middle part, usually pretty similar, but they're always different. Most of my offices do prepayments or at least a large case appointment deposit. So it would say, what would we do right now to hold this appointment, right? Yep. And then your treatment plan total, you're going to pull that number from up above, and then your patient discounts. This is what I would do here. You could do your treatment plan total could be like your in-office fees. And then your patient discounts are what they got for having insurance, right? Something like that. A lot of times I'll switch that out and I will say like yearly maximum, 1,500 patients used this amount, or maximum and deductible applied, something like that. So your middle portion is where it can get tricky too. depending on what you offer in your office. I always cover this stuff up, by the way, with a sheet of paper. And I say, we're going to go through this line by line. I want you with me. So I'm just going to leave this here because I don't want you to skip ahead and get to the end of the book before we've read the meat in the middle. Okay. So now this is your IR silence. I do not go into the payment options until I've let them sit with these numbers. We have a conversation. Then I start moving the paper down for the payment options. So their first option is payment in full. You can pay today. Their second option could be, this is office specific, 2 different payments. And I only offer those ever if it's a phased treatment, like a crown and a seat, a bridge and a seat, implant placement and crown, so they can pay on those 2 different services. That's the only time. Or utilizing something like Care Credit for 12 monthly payments. The fourth option that I like to give to my patients is to build a savings account. So they can send money in, or we can draw money monthly or weekly, however they choose to do it, to get up to the amount that they need to schedule at. Please note, we are not doing treatment without some sort of payment ahead of time. Okay, that's why we build the savings account. I'm not doing, let's do your filling today, and then you can pay me $20 a week for the rest of your life, because they're going to stop paying at some point, right? So I hope I'm not going too fast. If there's questions, please pop them in there. Sometimes I feel like I get on a roll. Okay, so that's your payment options. And then underneath, this is where you find your disclosures, right? This is where it says, this is a treatment plan estimate only. It's based on the insurance and on the information that your insurance company has provided to us as an estimate from them, and we're passing it along to you. Okay, I also like to put in here, if you're doing prepayments, that payments due, you can see the asterisk down there, payment is due prior on the day of rendered services. I like to put any appointment change request. Okay, and you can see on this one, I want you to read it because we talked about this last week, right? If you, the patient, find an unavoidable change is required, we do request 48 hours notice of the circumstance to ensure that this appointment deposit remains refundable. Okay, because if they cancel less than that, they're getting charged an appointment cancellation fee, right? So your deposit may not be refundable. And then we're just signing it. And I always tell my patients, we're just signing this, acknowledging that you and I went over this. It does not lock you into this today. I'm not telling you that you owe me $20,000. This is to say that we reviewed this together so that my doctor knows I provided everything. Mm-hmm. I like to do this. Again, we'll go back to the reasons, right? The beginning. I don't like a la carte. I don't like patients to be able to pick and choose what they want to do. And I don't know if patients feel this way. That would be an assumption, right? Just like we have to assume the yes. My negative assumption is that it's overwhelming. I, as the treatment coordinator, looking at all of the numbers, the 50,000 numbers on that printout, I get confused and overwhelmed, right? It's hard for me to stay on track and in that line and not have my eyes all over. So I utilize this form, assuming other people struggle with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Tiff, thank you so much for that. You guys, I put in some numbers. You guys all have this treatment plan estimate. I've seen other offices where they'll take this information and they'll make little lines in their software. So all the patient has to do is just initial on it. There's lots of different ways you can do this. Find what works and what grooves with your team. That's the easiest way to execute and get the results you're looking for. So there's 2 pieces, ease of execution and also getting the results. I do know in Open Dental, you can actually sign treatment plans in the back with just a mouse. You don't even have to have like an extra signature pad. There's lots of different things you can do. I do like this as well with these payment options because sometimes as a TC, I don't know what my payment options are. And if I don't know what they are, I get fumbly because I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't know what options to give them. I am big on not offering a lot of payment plans. I sit there and I say, okay, cool. Tiff, like what ballpark are you looking for? Let me make a custom payment plan for you. She's like, I could do like 50-50. Fantastic. Let's do 50-50. She usually will come up with a solution that's better than what I'm going to offer. And I'm not giving her a myriad of choices. I think keep this simple like Wendy's. Chocolate or vanilla Frosties, not Baskin Robbins with 52. I went into Baskin Robbins the other day, guys, and I literally walked in and I said, what's your favorite flavor? There were so many, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. This is incredibly overwhelming. So that's the idea behind treatment planning. So you guys, you have this. What I would suggest, we also have on your worksheet form that there are stumbling blocks. We're not going to go through these stumbling blocks with you today. Talk to your team. Come up with your solution. Like, what do we say if the patient asks, what do I do with my insurance? Like, or what about my insurance? Like, what is that stumbling block with your treatment plan? What about payment plans? What do we do for that? What about phasing if our office doesn't do it? What stumbling blocks do you personally struggle with? Write those down. That's why we gave you guys extra space down here. I used to struggle with what do I do during that silent moment? Like, oh shoot, like they're not responding. What do I do? How do I stop talking? That was my stumbling block. So whatever your stumbling blocks are, the best way to feel confident is to create a solution before you get there. What do I say when they ask me about insurance? What do I say when they ask me about payment plans? What do I say when, can I do it all at once? What do I say in those situations? And then to have the confidence that no matter what comes your way, you have the solution. You know you'll figure out the solution. You know you'll find the answer for it. Ashley, Tiff, any last things you want to add in on that before we wrap up today and give them some, I've got one last jewel, guys. Don't you fret. Of course I do.
I just want to chime in real quick and jump back to the very first part we talked about with insurance verification. So a lot of times the people verifying those insurance, they'll be your front office, right? Your front desk. Realistically, what we've just been talking about is making sure the back office, like the dental assistants, the hygienists, know how to effectively treatment plan. So that being said, we have those beautiful insurance verification forms. Go over those with your back office team. Make sure the back office understands how to read those. Because just because they're scanned into a SmartDoc or wherever they might be doesn't mean your clinical team necessarily knows what any of that means. So take the time for training. Don't forget to go over that training piece with your back office so that they can confidently present these.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that point, Ashley, because I'll be honest, some of these things when I look at them, I don't even know what, like that's like MTC. I think about Missionary Training Center because my little sister's Mormon. Well, we all are. And she's on a mission, right? Like, but that's going to mean something different. So make sure this legend you all can read. And that's a missing tooth clause for those of you wanting to know what MTC stands for. But agreed, if you want your back office team to present treatment plans, they've got to feel confident with this information. Tiff, you unmuted. Did you want to add something?
I was just going to ask, did we give them a form that breaks all those acronyms down?
If you email hello@thedentalateam.com, we will definitely send it over. Tiff made a really cool form that we're happy to share with you. So email over hello@thedentalateam. It's an insurance breakdown one. So you guys, don't forget all of this and more is at the dentalateam.com. It's totally still not working. It's fine. But you guys, 50% off all of our courses. The internet is just slow at my house today. Well, welcome to Reno. So you guys, Q&As. Don't forget DAT helps. It goes until the end of the month. Tiff, if you'll pop that in there, that would be fantastic. So with that said, question and answers. What question and answers do you guys have? This is Q&A time. This is your time. Let us know what we can do to help you guys. What we've got, we answered the question live. What things do we have going on, Tiff?
Sorry, I was getting the thing. I don't have anything right now, so pop them in there. And I think I want to make sure with Steve that we did answer that question accurately for you. Ashley missed the downloads, so Rachel, if you can pop those downloads back in there. Thanks, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I want to hear questions though. I know treatment planning is huge. It's a huge undertaking. There's a lot of verbiage. A lot of different facets to it. So I want to know what questions do you guys have? And then I'd love to know what the biggest takeaway was.
Mm-hmm.
What do you, Ashley setting a timer, perfect. What do you suggest for presenting treatment options like sedation for peds? So
okay, go ahead.
I was going to say personally, I would do the bundle form. I wouldn't separate it out. Personally did that for our oral surgery that we would do because it's different codes, right? So per 15 minutes or per 30 minutes, you have different codes, and then the insurance company stops paying at a certain point. Typically it's after the first hour. So I don't want that to be seen, right? So I would utilize a form like what we just showed you or something that bundles it and says, this treatment with the sedation that we're recommending will be X.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Completely agree. That's what I do with implants. So my implant cases were never every single piece on there. They literally are dummy codes. Like I made fake codes, and we'll talk about that a little bit more next week, of having these dummy codes. So it'd say like extraction and placement is 7947. So that way it's a higher number. And then your next piece would be the impressions and then the delivery. So there are 3 parts of an implant. It was all bundled together. I made dummy codes so I wouldn't have to write it out. Again, I'm lazy that way. So that was my thing. I do think Tiff's presentation is beautiful, and I think it's very clean and very easy for people to follow. So whatever works for you guys. I was lazy and didn't want to have to write it out. So I made dummy codes of those 3 items, presented on a treatment plan, and that's how we did it. So great question on that one.
Ashley says, I loved the don't lead with insurance portion. I don't do that personally, but was having a hard time training my team on why not to instead of just cause. So I love that. Edward, thank you. And Steve, thank you for the kudos there. Perfect. And that was Rachel.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you guys. So be sure next week, we're going to do treatment planning 2.0. So it'll be our last Wednesday workshop at 12 o'clock. Don't worry, we're going to be moving into a different format for you guys. So we're still going to continue our monthly workshops. So get ready. We're about to release something we're really excited about. So that's why we're telling you guys about the Dental 18 products at 50% off. DAT helps, all caps. That's going to get you guys 50% off, even off that Dental 18 training in a box. So a lot of people ask, did we actually 50% off all the courses? The answer is yes. So be sure to pop on over there. Thank you guys for attending. Tiff, Ashley, any last things? Tiff?
One more, sorry. Tracy just popped in, and this is a really good question. Tracy uses Trojan Benefit Service to import their plans. I don't know if other plans do, but I know Dentrix was strictly them. I would like to use this template for the insurance verifications, but it may be too much. I would talk to Trojan. Trojan's a little bit tricky. They've always been very firm in what they do, but I would definitely add as much of that as you can. I know that they will add missing tooth clause, downgrades, things like that. So double check with them. That's what I would do. And I would for sure just make sure that whatever service you're using, you're getting your money's worth. So if you're not able to present a treatment plan as accurately as you'd like to, maybe look into a different company. You know, if they can't do it, that would be my suggestion. And it's never too much. Don't ever say that. If it's what you want, then it's what you need, and you can do whatever you want. It's not too much.
Yes. And to that point, Tiff, I was going to say, you guys, there's some really good insurance verification companies. We can pop them in there. MedUsend is a great one. I think they're $1,100 a month, and they do insurance verification. Plus, they can do more work. It's a flat rate. Verific, VERRIFFIC. That's a new company. Dental Accounts of Ease. Trojan, we've heard Trojan. I've heard mixed reviews on how accurate they are. So that's where I might suggest, like, test it out, see if they're getting what you're looking for. And then as far as treatment planning options, you guys, Medento.io, they actually have a Dental 18 discount. So if you tell them you heard about them on a Dental 18 presentation, they'll give you a discount. They're great. They just integrated into Dentrix. And then Flex. Those are our 2 favorite companies. You can kind of eliminate like legwork or any of those additional companies because I think they do a lot more, and they have a great treatment planning option. They have texting your statements. So if you guys are looking for a software to make this easier, because at the back office team can just pull up some iPads, super fast, super easy. You guys can do it. Kaylee, will you help out? Edward is saying that the website's not working and can't display properly. Do you mind, Kaylee, popping in on that? That would help out, Edward. I'm not sure what's going on with the website. Kaylee will definitely help you, Edward. And then Bernard, we've got another question of how to negotiate price increase with the insurance company. Tiff, that's going to be you. I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, yay. You can submit a request to up your fees at any point, but you need to know when your contracts with your insurance companies are coming to a renewal, because that's typically the only time that they'll change your fees. So I never suggest signing a contract with an insurance company for longer than a year if you can get away from it, because then when that year is up, you can send in information. Also, Kira is brilliant and says to always submit your claims with your UCR fees. So your insurance or your software will show your contracted rates, but your claims are going out with your UCR fees so that the insurance companies see that consistently on a regular basis. And then just communicate with the credentialing department at the insurance companies to find out what their receivable method is, but it's typically just a letter. And then
I do know that Unlock the PPO is a company that I've heard good results by negotiating and getting those higher. I also recently heard that Delta is doing something really interesting where if you stop participating in all the other plans, they'll give you a preferred Delta dental fee. So it'll go higher than Delta Premier. But that's kind of trashy because then you can't be participating with anybody else. So I think there's a lot of different things. I know offices that are really serious about it. They are definitely working on updating those fees. Always submit your UCR because a lot of insurance companies will pay more than, not your UCR, but your fees, your office fee. Submit that on all your claims. The ledger, like there's check boxes. You guys can do this. It does make for a little more work when you're inputting your payments, but you can get paid more. You get higher fees. It's totally worth it. Tiff, we'll answer the Q&A. Tracy asked another question on download, but I did want to answer the question. Somebody said, can we charge PPE fees? The answer is yes. From what we've heard, the code is D 1999. I don't know if any of you graduated that year. I didn't. I was 04, but that's how I remember is 1999. I've heard it's about $20. I have not heard if they're getting denied. I would not pass a PPE fee onto your patients, but I do know that you can bill that out. Check to see if your insurance companies will pay. Put a narrative on there, and you guys can also just code it as like COVID PPE, so that way it's always in there. Great question on that. Tiff, you want to take the Q&A?
Yep, Tracy, downgrade. Okay, so that one is super easy, but a little bit like confusing at the same time. Once you do it, it's really easy. So it depends on your software. I know Dentrix.
Hey, Tiff, I'll ask the question out loud so in case you guys didn't see it. It says, with the downgraded codes, how does that work with inputting automatically into a treatment plan so correct estimate is applied?
Thank you. I forget to do that. I'm like that when we're like talking to, I'll just answer the question. Okay.
Same.
So Dentrix, I have to think of what it looks like. So Dentrix in your insurance portion, and then you open up your insurance spot. What is it called? Insurance.
Those little boxes. And Open Dental has it as well. Is that what you're talking with, like the fees? So it's like the 50%, the 80% for the codes. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So your little insurance box on Dentrix, you're going to open that. And then there's another box that you can choose, and it says payment table. So then what you go in there is you input your composite code and then the code that it's going to downgrade to, right? Or the amount. So you've got it's one of the two. I think it might be the amount that it downgrades to. So you put in your code for your composite, and then you put in your amalgam rate and you say add. So Tracy, that sounds confusing, that if you get in there and you have Dentrix, that's how it's done. So you're going to look at your fee schedule for that specific insurance company. So you pull up Delta Dental PPO of Arizona, right? That fee schedule says they're going to pay $56.40 on a single surface amalgam filling. Now you go to your insurance portion and you say payment table. You're going to put in your code for your composite restoration, your single surface composite, and you're going to say they pay $56.40. And then you're going to say add. So now every time with that specific group, every time that you go in and treatment plan a single surface composite, your treatment plan will automatically populate $56.40 is what they will pay. Separately from that, you can separate the codes. You create your own codes in your payment table. So where you put in your 80, your 180, 50, you can separate codes out of there. It can get a little tricky, but you'll figure it out, and then you'll be smooth sailing. Open Dental has a portion where you can put in there, and it just says downgrade, right? It just says calculate downgrades, something like that. So it's that easy, like calculate downgrades it's that easy. So you click that button, and then it automatically calculates it for you. You just have to make sure that your fee schedules are in there correctly. If your fee schedules aren't attached correctly, none of it's going to work.
Yeah. I think that answers yes. And Tracy, if not, then be sure to pop back in there. But I really think that helps you guys, because so many offices are like, this is too hard. If it's too hard, call us up. We do virtual coaching, and we can just pop on your computer for you. EagleSoft has it. Every single software has something. So like if you do it in one, we found you can do it in all the others. You might have to contact support, but if it's not calculating correctly, don't sit there and say, well, I just can't do this. It's too hard. Figure it out, because your back office needs it to be easy for them to present treatment plans easily. So don't be afraid, really get in there. Again, if you guys need help, pop on, contact us, hello@thedental team. We can do a couple coaching calls with you. We can walk you through, we can screen share. Tiff has done billing workshops with some offices. So if you guys need that, just pop on a quick mastermind. Edward, you had a question. Website is up and working. Coupon code is DAT helps. I've got the team training in a box on the share screen. Thank you, Kaylee, for getting that up and going. But let's answer some other questions. So the anonymous attendee, we're not sure who you are, but yes, EagleSoft does have something similar for that downgrade for you. Samantha Gray, hey, my Midwestern love. You guys, I know her from Midwestern, so this is a fun day. So Samantha says, we're not contracted with any insurances, but we do submit for our patients with insurance. How would you handle collecting the remaining balance after insurance has paid? Not knowing what insurance will cover often keeps us from collecting up front. Tiff, you unmuted quick on that one.
I'm like itching to answer this question. Don't wait until insurance pays to collect your money.
No.
Period. Don't. Okay. Collect your money up front. It does not inhibit you from collecting it. That's what your team members are telling you, and it's not true. Okay. So what I typically would do is I would take your 180, 50, whatever percentage the insurance company says they'll cover of their fee schedule, and then I drop that by like 20%. Right? Because you want the safety net. So if that makes you feel better, you either collect 100% up front and reimburse them later, give them credits back, or mark on the claim. This is a really fun note. Mark on the claim to pay the patient. So you can submit on your patient's behalf and not accept the check. So you can collect 100% from your patient, submit on your patient's behalf, and then have the insurance check mailed to the patient. 100% an option, and it's a fantastic one. So to decrease the amount of legwork you're doing later, because now you're paying someone, you just paid someone to get eligibility, you paid someone to present a treatment plan, to collect some money, and now you're paying someone to fight and collect the rest of the money. So let's put it into those terms, right? Which is worse? Telling your patients they owe $200 for a filling, but they may be reimbursed up to $120 from their insurance company? Or paying someone to do 4 different jobs when you could have done it with just one.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we used to do. So when I said it was a fee-for-service office, I collected 100% up front. A great way that you can tell the patient is like, yeah, we want you to get the credit card points for this, and then insurance is going to reimburse you. Because when insurance is reimbursing a patient, usually they will pay within 30 days. They're pretty quick, so it's usually within that credit card cycle. So patients get the double win. They get, especially if you're in a practice like this, they get the credit card points. Plus, they also are going to be able to get the check from the insurance company, and it's a much cleaner, easier way. I always say if you're struggling to collect up front, change that process because you don't want to chase money later. It's way easier to collect it up front and reimburse than going after them and saying, hey, we need money for this. So I would absolutely, if you're going to treatment plan estimate, like Tiff said, drop it 20%. So if they're estimated to pay 100%, drop it to where they're only going to pay 80%, 80% down to 60%, 50 down to 30%. You're in a much safer a range, I would say. But my preferred on those is if you guys don't do insurance, to just collect 100% and send it to the patient. Patients are usually pretty happy about that. You can still fight the insurance company on their behalf. You can still resubmit claims on their behalf, but they at least know what's going on. Good question. All right, you guys, any last questions you'd like us to answer before we peace out until next Wednesday? As always, you guys, if you have questions or thoughts afterwards, please email us hello@thedentalateam.com. All of our products right now are coming with coaching calls. We want you guys to get support. So they're super, super helpful. You guys, it was a fun privilege to hang out with you, to be here with you guys today. Remember, you guys can absolutely 100%, you visualize yourself getting those 100% yeses. It will 100% happen. Change it up. There are no failures. There are just results. So make sure you're getting the results you're looking for, and keep changing it. Ask us for help. We have done a lot of treatment plans in our days, and so we will happily help you. Use the software, figure out the software. And thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Thank you, coaches. Thanks, Ashley and Tiffany and Laramie, and the behind the scenes with Kaylee and Rachel. Truly, the Dental A team is a family. We work so hard together to put this on for you guys. So we'll catch you guys next week for Treatment Planning 2.0. We're going to go above and beyond. We're going to talk about taking payments in the back. We're going to do a sneak peek for you guys next week, and then we're going to be sharing our most exciting jewel with you, our new idea for Dental A team for you guys. All right, you guys, take care. Have the best day, and we'll catch you next time.
And you guys, that's a wrap on the Dental A team. But don't worry, the Dental A team actually has a newsletter where we send out more tips and tricks every single week straight to your inbox. No, these are not podcast topics. These are additional topics that have downloadable forms. So head on over right now to thedentalyteam.com, register for our free newsletter. We don't spam you. We don't send you junk. We just send you tips and tricks for your team. This is a great way, you guys. You could get your whole team on an email campaign if you can't get them to listen to the podcast. So head on over to thedentalyteam.com right now and become part of our newsletter family.